Welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's Company Spotlight. I am back once again with VSBLTY Groupe. Jay Hutton, CEO. Jay, welcome back.
Thank you, Jack.
Jay, it's been, I think, only just a week. Usually it's longer since between appearances, but the reason we had to pull you back in is because you have some major news that came out yesterday. The market is reacting very positively, and we also have a fan base here, so we got a big fan base, and yeah, the market is reacting very positively. I think I want to really focus on the news that came out yesterday.
Sure.
Grupo Modelo, because to me, just looking at it, it seems to be like a game changer for the company, a real inflection point, where this is some interesting things are about to happen. So in your own words, just tell, if you can explain to our audience what you're doing, what this deal, what you're going to be doing with Grupo Modelo, what this deal means for the company.
Sure. Grupo Modelo is a wholly owned subsidiary of Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, ABI. And ABI, as you probably know, is one of the world's largest brands. They have 550 unique sub-brands, and they're valued over $100 billion. So, if as you know, we define our business as helping brands provide greater customer engagement and provide analytics associated with brand and consumer engagement in real time. You really couldn't find a better company to do business with or to align with, mostly because they both are a brand and a very pervasive and powerful brand, and they are also a retailer. So generally speaking, we occupy one or the other lane, but very infrequently do we occupy both lanes. We're talking to brands or we're talking to retailers. In this case, we're talking to one and the same. Grupo Modelo owns Modelorama, which is the second largest convenience store operation in Mexico, and they have 15,000 retail locations. In addition to that, ABI has enormous influence over an additional 19 to 20,000 what they call mom and pops. Unfortunately, there's no direct translation. Bodega would be the closest thing, but it's a convenience store. And for us, the alignment with them and meeting their objectives as they move into the 21st century of technology transformation is what really makes this work, actually, for both parties.
Okay, and so of course I know them as Negro Modelo, the beer.
That's one of the 500 brands they have. Yes, there are others. Stella, Corona, Budweiser. There's a lot of them, including in last year over 100 craft beer acquisitions. So they're acquisitive and global.
Okay, so basically, so essentially, what's going to be happening is they're going to be deploying your platform, your technology platform in how many locations are they going to start off with?
Well, let me tell you what the goals are. It's a 7-year contract, and the goals of that contract are 100,000 endpoints in 33 countries. Elements of this are not yet been publicly disclosed, but that's a significant footprint. In Mexico alone, we're going to start with Modelorama. That's the convenience store operation that I mentioned they own 100% of. But simultaneously, and in smaller chunks, we're doing Ecuador and Peru and Colombia. But we will expand beyond those 4 countries to the 33 country objective over the 7-year timeframe of the contract, with the goal of being at 100,000 locations by the end of year 4. So exiting year 4 and going into year 5, 100,000 locations. That's the objective. Now it will achieve 3 discrete things. This is the important thing to understand about this contract. It is digital display. It is what we've been talking about, Jack, since the moment I met you. A component of our software offering is display, interactive display, which has a second layer, which is a module that's inspired by computer vision using camera technology to measure consumer engagement in real time. These are the things we've talked about before, like gender, age, dwell, engagement, clustering, all these sorts of components, data points that are valuable to brands, large brands, because they measure this in real time. And of course, the third component, this is sort of the piece that is a lot less obvious to those of us that live in North America, in US or Canada. But in Mexico, if you're an empresario that runs a convenience store, you're going to get robbed. It will happen. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's a matter of when it's going to happen. So as a component of this offering, we've got the digital display, we've got the real-time data analytics, and we've got security, looking for persons of interest. Because if someone's robbing a convenience store, reality is it's not their first time. So we've caught them somewhere before, somewhere in the network, and we use our POI capability, our computer vision, to look for persons of interest, look for weapons, those sorts of things, and provide a layer of safety to the impresario. And of course, this is incredibly valuable for ABI because it means that their locations are safer, their independent franchisees are safer, and they get way more data about what's happening in real time.
You know, it's interesting. It's okay. So yeah, this is actually like a marriage made in heaven, because this is obviously, you know, Modelo. They own these stores, or they have you know, partnerships, or they sell to these stores. So it's really like a value add. This is a real value add thing. Not only are they selling the safety angle, you got the security angle, which is very important, but at the same time, they're helping drive more revenues there. So the cash register, you know, rings more, and hopefully with bigger, you know, tickets. And you know, one thing, just if you can, because we do have some new people, I'm sure, today. So exactly, like, anything, what does it do? In other words, somebody's passing by, you know, camera sees them. What does it do? It does an ad for whatever product and stuff.
Right. So think of it this way. There are 10 commercial slots, you can call it, on a digital display, and they're 15 seconds each. Who might be interested in buying a commercial slot with video in a convenience store? Well, you can imagine it's Pepsi, it's Coca-Cola, it's Mars, it's Hershey, all of the things that are likely to be in a convenience store. A convenience store is not a grocery store. It doesn't have 75,000 independent SKUs or part numbers. It has 800. So among those folks that are deployed in, well, products that are deployed in a convenience store, you can identify which of those individual brands are interested in engaging consumers. And you approach those brands and say, well, we've deployed this network. I'm going to sell you 5,000 stores to do a Mars promotion for 15 seconds a piece for 3 months. That's the value proposition. And of course, because Anheuser-Busch and Modelorama is so omnipresent, that brand relationship is many years going back. It's very influential in terms of ABI having significant influence over the brand. And that's how we monetize the network. So engagement with consumer is, it could be gender triggers, it could be age triggers. I see a woman, I'm going to play the Limerita beer ad. I'm just making it up, not to typecast at all. And if it's a male, I may wish to play the tequila ad, and I'll play it for 15 seconds. I'll measure the number of people that I played it to, and I will inform the brand that this many people viewed your ad. That's the holy trinity of it, right? The brands want instant feedback like they get on the internet, and they're spoiled by that. Yeah. They want that kind of feedback and those kind of analytics in bricks and mortar. And we provide that really for the first time. You couldn't find a better partner candidate for us than ABI because of, I said, they're both retail and brand, and they also are very interested in moving past the old ways of gathering data in stores and moving to the new ways, which is what we represent.
Yes. So this, I mean, no, it's basically like, I think somebody mentioned on the first live stream you're on, essentially your platform gives branchly, this is like, you know, Google ads for the physical world. So, you know, they get that same level of, you know, getting the ad in front of the consumer, and they're able to measure, they're able to, and they can see how many people saw the ad, all that stuff. And at the point of sale. So, okay, so the important thing is, a lot of people are asking about the economics. So let's get into the economics of the potential of the deal initially, and then as we roll out, like how does that work per store that you can extrapolate?
Sure, I'll break it down the best I can. So when we were starting this program, we're doing so very conservatively. Whereas a grocery store may have 60, 70 digital endpoints, in Modelorama, we're doing one digital display, because this is a 50 square meter store. It's not 5,000 square meters, it's 50 square meters. So we're doing one display, and that display consumes a single vision capture, which is our content management system license. We do one camera connected to that display, which also consumes one more license. And we do a security, which is a second camera, which also consumes a license. So we not only participate on the license revenue stream, VSBLTY does, but we also participate, because this is a joint venture we're building, we participate on the equity side for the value of the media. For the purposes of calculating the value of the deal, you could think of a single Modelorama store being worth $250 USD per month. That's on the media value side. So we participate in 25% of that, or sorry, 33% of that, because we're a 1/3 participant in the JV. We also have a separate, outside of the JV, we have a separate revenue line for licensing. So for example, in the first year, if we do, if we do 10,000 stores in the first year, the value to VSBLTY is in between 700,000 and 1.5 million from a licensing perspective. And on the media side, it's in the neighborhood of $9 million. And over the time as we grow, we're expecting to do 10,000 stores per year, and then grow to 100,000 at an accelerating rate in the last 2 years to get to 100,000. But the value of this deal for us is in the neighborhood of, it's north of 300 million in the overall value of the media, and of course our participation on that is about 125 million just on the media side over the 5 years, not the 7 years, and on the licensing side in the neighborhood of 15 to 25 million on licensing. Licensing revenue is outside the JV. Our participation in the media is inside the JV.
Okay, so in a nutshell. We got this right here. So we got Jack Shen cutting. What's revenue projections for with this deal alone, not anything else?
No, I mean, so this is not, as I mentioned before, and it's important to point this out, to reiterate this. This is not our typical grocery deployment where we would have multiple endpoints in a single store. Like I said, they're 50 square meter stores. They can't support multiple endpoints. So we've got one license for vision capture, one license for data capture, and one license for our security product called Vector. All those taken together is in the neighborhood of $180 to $200 per month per store. So at a 10,000 store clip in year one, that's 1.8 million in licensing. And if we understand the media value of the store is, as I said, 250, the VSBLTY participation in year one is around 10 million. And in the second year, at 20,000 stores, around 20 million on the media side. In the third year, 40 million, and on it goes. So and just in terms of licensing, year one, 1.8, year two, 3.6, year three, 7.2, etc. That is what's unique about this deal is there's a traditional revenue stream associated with licensing, which of course is 92% margin, 91.8% margin. And there's an equally compelling, in fact, I would argue, more compelling participation because of our equity participation in the JV. So it's a very exciting, very integrated deal.
And the margins like on this, like, because this, you were talking about ads, and the ads is basically what it's almost pure profit.
Well, there's two revenue streams. So on the licensing revenue stream, we experience about a 91.8, well, not exactly a 91.8% gross margin. That's our software. That's our traditional recurring software as a service component. Now, to be fair, we discounted this deal. We lowered our pricing for our licensing pretty considerably because we were interested in participating in the back end revenue. Clearly, we want a piece of both. But on the media side, the only cost that comes out of that revenue element is your cost of commission. And in the media world, that's between 9 and 15%. So you could take that number, first year media value 30 million, second year media value 60 million, and the only thing you would deduct from that is a commission fee, which is between 9 and 15%. And the problem is it varies campaign to campaign. because of size. So a significant margin in both regards.
Okay. No, it's very impressive. Okay, and this is just one deal basically. So this is just with Modelo in. It seems like Latin America, you're really gaining a lot of traction there.
Well, we're benefiting from enormously well-connected partners. Latin America is proximity to power is important. It's way more important there than it is in other nations. And we've been fortunate to have selected incredibly influential partners, and that's benefiting us enormously. So we're delighted about that. But that's not to say that the same momentum isn't underway at a varying levels of execution here in the U.S., because it is. The difference between Modelorama and, say, a ShopRite or a Kroger would be, in a Modelorama, there's going to be one endpoint per store because they're so tiny. They're 50 meters square. But in a 48,000 or 59,000 square foot Kroger in Minneapolis, that's why the endpoints are going to be more significant there. And so look for us in the next several months to do more in the US that is similar to this. The concept the marketplace refers to this as, and this is why it's so explosive, store as media. And if I may, Jack, just explain that really quickly. Retailers are beginning to understand the value of their real estate as an advertising channel. And what's really cool about this Mexico deal, and I keep coming back to it because it's critical and unique, is we have both a brand and a retailer at the table, one decision maker. So we don't need to go and influence a brand to buy real estate on the media network because they've already convinced themselves. And they're the retailer, so of course they get the benefit of having all that data collected. And what's in it for them on the data side? Real-time analytics, real-time point of sale integration. So store by store, moment by moment, second by second sales velocity, which of course does enormous things in terms of perfecting, refining, and making their supply chain super efficient. So there's other things outside of just the advertising value that really drive ABI to dig into this in a really strategic way.
Yeah, no, so I think what's interesting is the deal that you're doing right now. This is going to be a great test case, really give to complete offering that you're giving, which is the security component, the data, the whole package. And from there, it works in Mexico. I mean, it'll work in Chicago.
This deal has jumped us into the front of the pack on spiritual leadership for stores media in the USA because it's got scale, it's with a recognized brand. I mean, it checks all the boxes. So since we deployed this, just in the industry, just with our blinders on as we talk about the road that we walk inside of our own industry, this has really catapulted the brand of visibility and put us in dialogue that we would never have anticipated being in before because of it.
Okay, let's jump into some audience questions here. Okay, so revenue. Okay, we covered the revenue projections. We get a question: who sets up and services the cameras?
Great question, because I love to say it's not us. We're a software company. Our job and role and responsibility in this deal is to remain current, continue to develop, continue to break, into new technologies that are complementary and accretive and ancillary to what we're already building. That's our job, and we will do that really well because that's what we do. Our partner in Mexico is responsible for the care and feeding, for the installation, and really at the end of the day, you want a local partner doing those things, because if you're gonna roll in a bunch of SEAL team members to jump out of helicopters to install screens in stores, you're not going to do so at a very cost-effective rate. You'll end up blowing up your business model because you're spending too much money at the front end. So with local partners, knowing the local lay of the land, it's going to get you further faster. So we have the responsibility of maintaining the software, ensuring that it's up and running, and all those things we can do from our San Diego support facilities, which we will do. So I'm delighted to say that that's not our burden.
Okay, so essentially, it's purely a software company. Everything has license. It's zero gravity.
Yeah.
Okay. Financials. I guess, Jack, do you want to be specific, or Jay, do you want to, like, it's a kind of an open-ended question of VSBY right now?
I'm not sure. So open that I'm not sure where to go with it. But
Revenues are balance sheet. I don't know.
So we are projecting continued growth in the fourth quarter. We're going to begin to experience some revenue associated with this deal in the fourth quarter of this year, but really the first quarter of next year is the going to town and executing aggressively in 3 countries, as I said, to start with. So we'll begin to see revenue associated with this deal right away.
Okay, so I think the next question is a little bit more kind of here, which is, I guess he was trying to ask us. Well, I think one of the questions we've been asked: will there be dilution in the near future? Cap, is there?
We just raised just under 6 million Canadian back in September. So I'm not saying I'm fat and happy, but we have what we need to execute our business model. So we don't see any compelling need to tap the market at the moment. So we don't intend to. In fact, it's very probable that we'll be able to get to our cash flow profitability point without additional capital. And we're excited about that, and that's an important milestone for us, one we've been working on pretty hard.
Okay, so I guess he was asking, what's the burn rate and how much cash on hand? Is that all covered?
Well, so the burn rate is, people think of it in different ways. So if I was to take out all of our revenue and just speak about the company as a pure expense formula, we burn about $255, $260 USD per month. So that means that we don't, and this is true of most software as a service companies that have the benefit of recurring revenue, we don't have to do much in terms of laying rubber on the road before we turn the corner. For us, an annual revenue of around 4 million makes us profitable. So that's our objective, and that's where we'll be in 21.
Well, basically with this deal, okay, so you need $4 million in revenue to be profitable. This deal should, based on the numbers you threw out, should easily do that. You're talking
in spades. Yeah, and then some. Yeah, this deal, we're at the only deal. In fact, there's a school of thought in the organization that we ought to put a lot of people on this deal so that we can accelerate the growth rate so that we get to that point quicker. I've got a more balanced approach. We have to keep all the balls in the air. But yeah, that's the kind of deal this is. It is a transcendent deal, crystallizing the company's objective, mission, and purpose. And because it consumes all 3 of our modules, there's nothing that we're not doing here that we wouldn't, it's critical. And as I said, from an industry point of view, it is clear leadership with scaled brands, which to me is, we'll monetize that. Absolutely no question. Yeah.
No, it's again, this news is a game changer. Speaking of game changers, what any other potential catalysts soon?
Yeah, I alluded to that a second ago, didn't I? We have other planes in the air on final approach at the moment that we think will be landing, a couple before Christmas and others immediately subsequent to Christmas, and those will continue to reinforce the message and mission of what we're doing, which is driving computer vision into retail and security marketplaces for significant commercial benefit for the participants in those markets. And one in particular has us doing an alignment with a very significant Fortune 500 company in the product domain that will be out soon. And we're really excited about that. It actually has a role to play in the Mexico deployment as well. So you'll see those paths aligning as we go forward.
If your platform works, the marketing platform works in Latin America, it'll work anywhere in the world.
Well, I don't often associate. I don't use that phrase. If it works, I appreciate others do, but I don't have that doubt in my mind. Our platform works. Our platform has been vetted. We're a 5-year-old company. We're not a 5-month-old company. We are, however, experiencing the most massive scale we've ever experienced, and that will bring to us challenges for sure. But we're aware of them, and we're ready for them, and we're ready to scale. We've scaled before. Certainly, nobody has scaled to this degree. Nobody in the marketplace. So it's important that we keep that in mind, and we focus on the elements that are necessary for us to make this thing operationally efficient and quickly. So I'm not worried about the performance of the software. The things I worry about with respect to the software is what's next? Where's our next innovation? And how can we maintain this lead, right?
Yeah, well, that speaks to it. I mean, if this were in terms of if you can show, right, or when you show that this is producing, real bottom line results in, let's say, in Mexico, right, where in terms of you have the security aspect, you have the marketing aspect. I mean, Karachi, it'll work in Bangalore, it'll work in Jakarta, whatever, worldwide. Because I mean, Mexico, they have serious crime problem, but they're very marketing savvy. I mean, there's the serious marketing, so it just creates a global opportunity. Oh, we got another question. Do you see digital signage replacing traditional billboards?
It depends on what you call traditional billboards. If you'll allow me to define a traditional billboard as a non-electronic, backlit poster board, then the answer is yes. It's happening now and happening at scale now. And the reason why, as is frequently the case, is an economic reason. If Jack has a billboard outside Las Vegas that talks about a movie that's coming up and it's backlit poster board, he's got one entity that's paying for the real estate in that poster board. Because the process is it sits up there with one ad playing for what, 2 months, 3 months, the length of a campaign. But if that billboard were digital, now you're rotating advertisers, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. And while that advertiser may not pay exactly the same amount as the guy that had the whole board for the whole time, the math is you're going to make about 120% more dollars when you rotate the ads. That's the very basic infrastructure and logic to digital signage in any environment. You can combine advertisers on a single platform and get less dollars from each, but in aggregate, way more dollars. That's the idea.
Okay. Robert is, I guess, commenting, saying Asia is big on, facial recognition. Why not target that market? And I guess offering the same thing in, I guess, let's say, China.
Well, so China has a very big AI company that is the largest on the planet in a marketplace where the government has said they want to 100% surveillance. So the reason why we're experiencing things like the 7 different camera manufacturers forbidden in the USA that come from China is because those trade barriers are going up for actually good and legitimate reason. So we haven't spent any time focusing on Asia. For us, it happens to be a practical thing. We're a small company. We can't shoot 1,000 birds with one bullet. So we're going to spend our time going to places, participating in markets where we're getting traction. And right now, that's USA, Canada, Latin America. We have a distributor in Africa that's doing very well. And we have some brand new distribution coming on stream in Europe and in the Gulf, which is doing very well for us. But we're very circumspect about that. We're very prescriptive. If you're going to be a partner of ours in, say, Dubai, you need to bring these 7 things to the table, and we'll bring these 3 things. But if you don't bring things to the table and therefore extract resources from the U.S. that are sacred and finite, we're not interested in being a partner. So we've been very careful about that. Asia's not off the table, but our big partners will take us there. In fact, they're already doing so. Sensormatic, UST Global are among 2 that we're in Asian engagements with right now.
Okay, you just mentioned you're in Africa. Which country or countries in Africa are you in?
Primarily, the most advanced country in Africa, which is South Africa. We're in Johannesburg with a partner called Onyx, and actually they've just landed a deal with a very large convenience store that's also a fuel retailer. We haven't disclosed the name yet. They haven't disclosed the name yet, but that's another smaller version of Modelorama.
Okay, because I mean the market is really booming. I mean the economies are booming. There's an emerging middle class. I mean the Chinese are all over there. I mean they got infrastructure projects. That's like the next thing. Okay, let's see. We have any other questions? We got a couple questions coming in. Okay, we got the Asia question. Okay. Who is your target market? I guess maybe he's asking like, what's a typical retail location? I mean, if you're doing small bodegas, I guess you could anybody, no?
Well, we think of our target markets both in terms of our target channels and our target geographies. Because we're not a direct selling entity. We don't spend time cultivating end users directly. We do so with our partners because we bring the expertise that they, in many cases, don't have. So we target large, multi-billion-dollar, for at least the most part, systems integrators and retail integrators like Sensormatic, Johnson Controls, like UST Global. Those are the kinds of companies that we're doing business with because we believe they are force multipliers. They can take us places we couldn't go ourselves. We bring expertise, agility, world-class software, and they bring to us C-suite access that allows us to quickly get into a conversation about what Stories Media, as an example, might mean, or what a smart city might mean. So our target customers are the channels, and together we'll go into their customer list and sub-target retailers or brands within that list.
Okay, so it's important for investors to understand that you don't have thousands of salespeople knocking on doors to bodegas. I mean, you're dealing with channel partners, whether it's like a Modelo or whether it's a Sensor, somebody who has relationships with thousands of stores.
I'm a guy that's done that, that's built that sales force with 400 salespeople, and this is a better way. It's just better because you go faster. It allows you to stick to your knitting. We're a software company, and our job and our responsibility is to build kick-ass software and make sure it's cutting edge for the channels. And those channels will benefit by virtue of that software. Of course, aggressive pricing, aggressive relationships, the ability to help them in closing their business because it requires subject matter expertise. But we're not spending every day cold calling customers to open up markets. That's the job of our channels. And right now, there's more demand than we can address. So we're happy with that performance.
Okay. I think Ben is asking, how long does it take to maybe deploy? I guess from when a company signed up, does it take to turn a location on, maybe he's asking.
Well, let me address it in the context of Modelorama because I just got off a call where this was the topic. Our current trajectory at Modelorama is 35 installations a day. So that's doable. These aren't complicated. When I think about all the features and capabilities required for the Modelorama deal, it's kind of a layup for us. There's nothing that's just brand new or brand new code. This is all pretty well vetted and confirmed, and we have execution capability on all of it. There's nothing that's sort of on the bleeding edge of what we do. There's other customers that consume the bleeding edge of what we do, but not this one. So we're happy that we think the scale is addressable. In the US, deployments, for example, we did a large drugstore starting in July. I think we did 150 stores, and it took us 30 days. Unions, staff, it's just a little bit more complicated in the US for a lot of reasons. Sometimes there's electrical to be run. So the answer is it kind of depends. That's why I wanted to give you for instance, for Mexico.
Oh, this is an interesting question because that ties into, I guess, how quick revenues are going to scale. Okay, so Jay, let's kind of wrap. We got some very impressive news this week. This has been good. What else is in the hopper of the month? We're at the end of the year. We're at the end of 2020 now. Can you give any? Are we going to have any Christmas presents? Somebody was asking about Christmas presents here. Sam, so are you going to have any Christmas presents for Sam?
There's a couple, There's a couple of things that we've got in the hopper, and I would sort of guardrail it by saying, if you're thinking about a convenience store, think about the things that would benefit from computer vision. Think about the systems and installations that are in a convenience store that would benefit by having integrated computer vision for customer analytics and digital display. We've got one coming up soon that is very much in that vein with the largest manufacturer of its kind in the world. this is going back to our theme. We don't want to deal with the little guys. We want to do our best to deal with the big guys where we can. So that, and another one that I think is really important, which is also a product development initiative with an APAC organization where we're actually doing integration of our software directly on camera technology. And that to us is really quite exciting because it represents a brand new pioneering way of architecting these networks. So we're excited about that. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Okay. So I think he's asking if you can clarify what is the, what's your percentage on those?
So the way we build our pricing model is we have what's called an MSRP, which is precisely what it would be if you were buying a car, manufacturer's suggested retail price. We have a reseller price, and we have an OEM price. The reseller price is if you're buying our software and selling it without any alteration or modification, you get X. And generally that's 30% off of MSRP. If, however, you're taking our product and putting it like a catalytic converter in an engine, you get an OEM price. And an OEM price is roughly 38 to 40% off the list. What's good about the OEM is it tends to run on its own steam. You know, once it's designed in, we call that a design win, and we've got many. Once the product is designed into the system, then it's their own pipeline and sales management tools that we monitor. We're not engaged in the sale. They're selling their product. It just happens to have our engine in it. And we're really delighted by that because as time goes by and as you stack up more and more of those design wins, you're basically got that make money while you sleep ethos being generated because you don't touch the sales. They just show up and get activated on our internet portal one day and we start generating revenue at a clip per month. So that's how we do it.
So Jay, let's wrap up here. Again, the favorite question, the question that we ask at the end, top 3 reasons. For anybody that's new to watching this, seeing this video for the first time. Well, first of all, I suggest you watch the other videos we did with VSBY. But top 3 reasons why investors should want to VSBY today.
Number 1, we sit astride 2 marketplaces that have 10% compound growth rate each. I would argue that's understated for the retail store as media component of it. So that's number 1. You don't often find that. I'm old and I've seen a lot. I've never seen that before. That's number 1. Number 2, 2020, even though it's been a very challenging year for all of us in many regards at many levels, it has been our breakout year. We're gonna finish this year at a significant, many multiples of our last year revenue. And we have both bookings and billings that are climbing significantly. And then the third reason is we've just broken the biggest deal in the Northern Hemisphere in terms of store as media. And that seems like it might be an overstatement, but truthfully, I know the market. I spend every moment of every day in it, and it is a significant deal. And when we execute, not if we execute, and when the software works, not if the software works, you'll see this reflected in our balance sheet. Those are the top 3 reasons.
Okay, Jay, on that note, thank you. And I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing you again soon.
Happy to join anytime. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We'll see you in the next.